start your trip to the city of Rome, a place that you've desperately wanted to go for a long time. Picture New York City meets Washington, D.C. This is the largest city in the entire Roman Empire, the capital city of arguably the most powerful nation in all of human history. Prison guards load you onto a boat with other prisoners. As you take off, you notice a sense of doom. Nobody else notices it, but the wind is pushing against you most of the time that you are at sea. You know this is setting up perfectly for a disaster. You sail slowly for multiple days as your every step is being watched by guards. Unable to make it any farther, the captain decides to stop in a town called Fairhaven. When the captain decides that it's time to continue, you get nervous. You realize that by this point, the trip will be dangerous and you can no longer stay quiet. You go to the captain and to the head prison guard and tell them, "Sirs, I think this will be with injury and much loss, not only to the cargo and the ship, but also of our lives. Even though you are a prisoner, the head guard likes you and he trusts you. Surely if you are one that is advising against it and telling him that this will be dangerous, he will listen to you." But as you should have expected, the head prison guard instead listens to the captain of the ship. He loads you and other prisoners up, and you set sail, once again hoping to make it to a town called Phoenix before continuing on to Rome. Shortly after you set sail, the head prison guard regrets not taking your advice. The ship is hit by a massive storm. The wind pushes the boat wherever it wants the boat to go, like a chew toy in the grips of a pit. It is no longer prisoner or guard, as everyone does what they can to try to prevent the deaths of everyone on board. You watch as everyone starts tossing everything they can live without off of the boat in hopes that having less weight will keep the boat from sinking. After multiple days of being in the storm and not seeing the sunlight or break, everyone gives up hope of survival. Seeing the morale of everyone on board and knowing that everyone had been so focused on surviving a storm that they had forgotten to eat, you take your chance to say what is on your mind, and you tell them, "Men, you should have listened to me and not set sail from where we were and brought this injury and loss. Then now I urge you to cheer up, for there will be no loss of life among you, but only of the ship. For this very night there stood before me an angel of a God to whom I belong and whom I worship. And he said, 'Do not be afraid, Paul. You must stand before Caesar. And behold, God has granted you all those who sail with you. So cheer up, men, for I have faith in God that it will be exactly as I have been told. But we must run aground on some island.' After 2 weeks of being tortured by a storm, some of the sailors decided they've had enough of this and decided to escape on the lifeboats. At seeing this, you tell the guards that those sailors leave the boat, then they themselves cannot be saved. Filled with fear and trusting you after seeing what happened last time they didn't, they cut the ropes of lifeboats, causing the sailors to be stuck on a ship. Then you gather everyone together and you encourage them to eat, and you make sure to lead by example as you gladly take the first thing of food. After everyone has eaten enough, you all throw the rest of the food off of the ship. The next day you notice a beach. The captain decides to try to land the ship on the beach. None of you are opposed to this idea, as you have all had enough of this boat for one lifetime. As you pick up speed, the captain tells the crew to steer the ship towards the beach. It's all smooth sailing for a few minutes, and then out of nowhere you are forced to the front of the ship as it suddenly stops. You have just hit a reef, and a ship is now stuck. Fearing that you and the other prisoners are going to escape, the guards plan to kill all of the prisoners. Fortunately, you and the head guard get along just fine, and to save you, the head guard tells the other guards not to harm any of the prisoners. Then he orders everyone to go to shore. For those who can swim, he tells them swim for land. And for those who can't, he tells them to find a plank and float on it to shore. Once you make it to land, you learn from the terrified and surprised locals that the island you are on is called Malta. You notice that locals are surprisingly kind to a bunch of prisoners who just came off of a shipwreck. The case could even be made that a locust saved your life. You are wet and cold from your water, and it is raining and cold outside, so odds of you getting warm are low. But a locust get a fire started. You help them by gathering some wood to put on a fire. And as you put the wood into the fire, a venomous snake that was lying in a pile of sticks comes out and bites your hand. And it doesn't just give you a warning bite. No, it's biting to kill. It isn't letting go, and it's just dangling from your hand. Your hand is throbbing from the pain of being stabbed by its fangs. You overhear your locals talking about how you are a dead man, but you simply shake your hand violently to force the snake to fall into the fire. And then you continue like nothing happened.